Really? Oh. Oh. Get some pains.
Good evening. Welcome everyone on for such a beautiful night. It's really good. You know, our new counselor brought us high winds today. He did really well. He turned the siren on, so everybody in Roswell knows he's starting the council tonight. And so we had 10-mile-an-hour greater winds than the ones that took the old blimp hangar away. So, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chappell, Councilor Chappell. Okay, so if we have opening ceremony, can we have the call to order by the presiding officer? That's me, so if we can have the roll call and from our powerful clerk.
Councillor Cavan,
Present.
Councillor Marujo,
Present.
Councillor Halverson,
Here.
Councillor Arnold,
Present.
Councillor Oropesa,
Here.
Councillor Hildenbrand,
Present.
Councillor Johnson,
Present.
Councillor Moore,
Here.
Councillor Chappell,
Here.
Councillor Corn.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Okay, now we will have the pledge. You know, I think it's appropriate we have the pledge will be done tonight by some of our most senior counselors by time of service. And I'm sorry, I was totally corrected by that. So anyway, I think it's great, and I appreciate him being here. So if we could, Council Lady Moore and Councilman Opresa will lead us in our pledge and prayer.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, our most merciful Savior, we thank you for this day, God. We thank you for allowing each and every one of us to make it here this evening, God. Thank you for traveling graces, Father God. Father God, that we ask that you go before us and be with us as we go through and make decisions for the city, God. Give us what to say and what not to say. Give us peace and strength as we go through this meeting. Father God, we ask that you touch the military, the active military, God, those that have served, God. Father God, we ask a special present for all leaders of the city, the state, and the government. In the precious name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so next we have for the, approval of the agenda, and I would yield to the pro-tem. Do you want to approve that now? Okay, so, you know, last week, or not a week, the last meeting we had a presentation by one of our clerks, and I would ask our clerks to join me at the podium down here for just a short minute. If our interim clerk, Della, and our clerk, Amaya, please. Fellow councilors, if you will remember, we had our interim clerk and our county clerk were here, and the last meeting we had, or maybe it might have been 2 meetings ago, our interim clerk, did a remarkable job presenting a number of items out here. It was her first time that she'd ever presented in that manner. And I was notified by the Municipal League that they had received a copy of that presentation, and they thought it was really well done for the first time. And so they gave me the permission and the authority to recognize our interim counselor. So if we could have our city clerk, if you would please present this to our new deputy clerk. If you would pin it on her, please. And it was there by the permission granted to me by the Mr. A.J. Forty from the Municipal League. You are forever known now as a deputy clerk. Miss Della, Dee Dee, we call her, Della the deputy. Would you please pin her on that? And anytime you catch her not wearing that deputy clerk pin, anytime Deputy Della's not wearing that, make her buy you lunch. Congratulations. You finally made it. Thank you. Thank you all for allowing me to present that. She will never be as nervous as she was the other day again. Okay. Thank you. Pro-tem Arnold, please, to approval of the agenda.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I move to approve the agenda for the January 11th, 2024 regular city council meeting with the following changes. Move items 33 and 34 to be heard after item 23.
We have a motion.
Wait, I'm sorry, I was just letting people catch up.
Okay.
Items 33 and 34 to be heard after item 23, and there was a scribble error on item 31. The amount should read $830,867.34.
Counselor Arnold, would you please push your motion button?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
800. Oh, it's over here. 31. And okay, we have a motion to,
Second.
and we have a motion by Council Lady Arnold and a second by Council Lady Halverson.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying, oh, you want a voice vote? Okay. Clerk, call the roll.
Counselor Kevin,
Yes.
Counselor Marujo,
Yes.
Counselor Halverson. Yes. Counselor Arnold,
Yes,
Counselor Oropesa,
Yes.
Counselor Hildenbrand,
Aye.
Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Chapel,
Yes.
Counselor Corn.
Aye.
Okay, by a vote of 10 in the affirmative, none in the negative.
Can you all press your yes button on your boxes?
They
Thank
didn't
you.
come on.
Oh, we're teaching.
Yeah, they weren't on. I remember I asked you.
Did you press your yes button?
Pushed it, it won't stay.
They're not
He's
coming
trying
on.
real hard.
It's not, oh, there's coming on the screen now.
There it stayed. Oh, oh. Well, I'm not supposed to vote. I only vote in case of a tie. Boy, make it look like it didn't work. Okay, So now we have approval of the agenda. Next, we have approval of the consent agenda.
Mr.
Item
Chair.
2. Yes,
I would like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda for the January 11th, 2024 regular city council meeting.
I think we have a motion to approve the consent agenda by
Second.
Councilor Lady Arnold, second by Councilor Cavan. Any further discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Councilman Orpressa.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to make sure that before we vote on the consent agenda, that nobody has signed up to discuss any of the items on the consent.
Counselor, the only item we have anyone signed up to speak on is on non-agenda items, and that was recycling. No one else has signed up to speak that I know of. Is there anyone else that cares to sign up to speak? Seeing none,
Thank you,
So-
Mr. Mayor.
thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, then if you will please all push your little buttons.
And we need to do a roll call.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to do a roll call anyway?
We have to do both, yes, sir.
Okay.
Counselor
All right.
Cavan,
Yes.
Counselor Marujo,
Yes.
Counselor Halverson. Yes. Counselor Arnold,
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa,
Yes.
Counselor Hildenbrand,
Aye.
Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Chapel,
Yes.
Counselor Corn.
Aye.
Motion passes 10-0.
That's not.
Okay, so we got item 2. Next, we go to the non-action items here, 10, or, yes, we go to, okay, next we go to Mr. Non-action item 23, Mr. Bud Kunkel.
Good evening, and thanks to the mayor and our new city council for letting me update you this evening. Best wishes to everyone for the new year. Hopefully, the Roswell Air Center will provide our community with even more opportunity to benefit jobs and our local economy in 2024. The Airport Advisory Commission did not have our regularly scheduled meeting in December. We knew that with everything our members were involved in, we wouldn't have a quorum for the scheduled meeting date. And we're in the same situation for January. So we have now canceled 2 meetings in a row. I don't know when that's ever happened. I know. However, even if we have really busy people on our commission, we still get a lot accomplished, even without a meeting. Because we do have some new council members, I'd like to make sure you're aware of the commission members. First of all, John Hitchcock, former president and CEO of Pioneer Bank, and instrumental in attracting American Airlines to provide jet air service to Roswell. Dr. Sean Powell, president of Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell. Mike Espiritu, president and CEO of Roswell Chaves County Economic Development Corp. Matt McDonald, formerly employed by American Airlines, now employed by JetTran, headquartered in Marble Falls, Texas. And myself, Commission Chair, previously an owner-operator of Kunkel and Associates, which was a commercial, agricultural, industrial real estate appraisal firm, primarily operating in southeast New Mexico. One of the primary functions of the Airport Advisory Commission is to review and have input on air center leases. with the airport staff. This provides the expertise of the commission members in assisting city staff and the legal committee to hopefully have a cleaner lease after the AAC review, to be more business-friendly to our air center tenants, and to hopefully save city staff and council members time. The AAC reviewed and sent to city staff legal committee 30 leases in 2023. Significant time and effort was spent on two of the more important leases. The lease for the drag strip had dragged on for a couple of years due to unacceptable rent increases expected by the previous city staff. After recognizing how to properly analyze the property used by the drag strip, a reasonable market-based lease was proposed and agreed to by the drag strip. This benefited the city and the quality of life on a regional basis in New Mexico, Texas, and Oklahoma. The second lease that required significant effort was the lease of the former Mystic Avex property. This lease was worked on with Transaero, a medical flight transportation company that is a large U.S. regional company. The lease was finally agreed to in December. Transaero will employ 45 plus people. These are doctors, pilots, and other medical professionals to operate on a regional basis from our air center. Other items of importance include the strategic plan development with Mead and Hunt Engineering for the air center. There has not been an updated plan in use over 10 years. The current city council and city staff were encouraged, the previous city council and city staff were encouraged, and thank you to the city manager over here, having a plan for growth and development. The Air Center staff was able to get 90% of this funded by a state grant, making it even more cost effective. The strategic plans will provide a 5 to 10 year plan for Air Center development, and it is expected to be completed and presented to the city in August of this year. The Airport Operations Policy and Procedures Manual has also been updated after several months of work and is expected to be presented to the City Council for your February meeting. The U.S. Navy will be training new pilots at the RAC beginning January 24th through March the 30th. This has become almost an annual event that helps the Navy in their training from the Naval Air Base, or the Naval Base in Corpus Christi, Texas. We have significantly better flying and training opportunities than in Texas during this time of year. This also provides a significant economic boost to Roswell hotels, restaurants, and many other services. AirSail has a contract to bring in 100 plus aircraft for maintenance repair to the RAC. This will involve adding 10 to 15 additional aircraft mechanics and other staff, along with extra rent provided to the city for the aircraft that will be on site, and the economic boost for city services, housing, hotels, restaurants, and for the additional AirSail staffing. The first aircraft for this contract arrived early this month. CAVU is hopefully going to assist a new startup airline from England to do a wrap on the exterior of their first aircraft. This is a large A380 Airbus aircraft that typically holds 525 passengers, but can hold in excess of 700 passengers. It's a large double-deck aircraft that can only be accommodated by a very large and tall hangar. And you wonder where we have that in Roswell. The startup airline could not get hangar space to accommodate the airplane within their time frame requirements. In short, the personal contacts allowed CAVU to provide a mechanism to accommodate the needs of this startup airline at the RAC. It will be interesting to see if everything can be accomplished in the required time frame. The significance of this project is to point out to the City Council that the RAC staff has worked diligently with CAVU to make this project possible. If anyone has any questions on that afterwards, we've got the voice of CAVU in the audience here if I can't answer your questions. Some of the smaller but still important projects at the Air Center included the reinstallation of TV screens in the baggage claim area to promote Roswell and the surrounding communities that were of assistance in getting American Airlines to provide jet service to Roswell. This benefits Roswell and the surrounding communities, especially with information for travelers and tourists flying into and out of Roswell. It's an ideal situation to provide information while the passengers wait to pick up their baggage. The selfie wall that was installed in the passenger boarding area is another example of using the Roswell UFO incident to accommodate travelers into and out of the terminal building. The new extended water line into the southeast portion of the Air Center to accommodate development in that area is being designed by the City Engineering Department. The design is expected to be completed by the end of April, per Louis Nahar, our city engineer. The last item that I want to mention is the Reno Air Races. This project has been worked on diligently by Mike Espiritu and EDC, along with a lot of help from city staff, elected officials, and numerous mayors and city staffs of other communities and private businesses. It has grown from an initial notification to where we are today. All parties continue to be optimistic that Roswell will be the site for the air races, and hopefully we can get this decision, or will be made, by the end of March this year. This concludes my report. Thank you for your attention. I did take more than 2 minutes, Mr. Councilman Oropesa. And I stand for any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions of Mr. Kunkel? Councilman Oropesa, or was that from the last one? Any?
I'm sorry, it went on.
Okay. Any questions of Mr. Kunkel? I think we should recognize CAVU, if you care to say anything. I mean, it's, to get that big accomplishment, that's really something to do.
My apologies, I'm gonna have to get closer to hear you. I'm sorry, you.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you for your work on getting that 380 over here, and that's, I mean, you
It's
know.
an
It's great.
interesting, short fuse, typical aviation project, so, yeah, we think we can do it without any effort. I've had really good cooperation. Obviously, the security plan is the biggest piece of it, but the airport staff and the advisory board have worked hand in hand with us to try to get this thing put together, and we truly appreciate that.
Thank you. I mean, it's tough to serve those big planes without a big hangar, so you should be commended, you all, for your work to get that done.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Will.
Any further comments? Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kunkel. We appreciate that. And next we have what we have is public participation on agenda items.
Did we move 23, 24?
No, not yet. We're gonna do the partition stuff before we do that. Yep. On agenda items, we had no one sign up to talk on agenda items. We do have on non-agenda items, so maybe they can, if we move them up a little bit, they won't have to stay till the end of the meeting to present. If we could, we have one Ingo Nels to talk on recycling. Mr. Nels.
Hello, good evening. I'm Ingo Niels. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As mentioned, I would like to talk a little bit about recycling, which we don't have in Roswell anymore. I believe recycling is not only a responsible thing to do, but especially as a relative small community that we are, we should save resources and extend the life of our landfill. I also think that we owe it to our kids, future generations, and the environment we ourselves live in to be aware of our impact and reduce and reuse the resources that we have. Other communities here in New Mexico, even smaller than Roswell, already have recycling programs. I have a whole list here, but just to mention a few. Clovis, for example, a population of 38,000, has 3 collection sites for aluminum, plastic, and cardboard. Alamogordo, 31,000 people, 3 sites for paper, plastic, and cardboard. Gallup, 21,000 people, 2 sites, paper, plastic, cardboard, aluminum. Los Alamos, 13,000 people, 2 sites and residential pickup. Silver City, only 10,000 people, has 3 sites for cardboard recycling. And even Ruidoso, less than 8,000 people, has cardboard recycling, paper, and even plastic. We used to have a small family-run business here in the town that picked up residential recycling for a monthly fee of about $30. They basically drove around in a pickup truck with a trailer, stopped at your house, and hand-sorted the recycling. When it reached the amount good enough for a truckload, they drove it off to El Paso. I'm certain that there are ways to run a recycling program cost-effectively without requiring vast resources or personnel to pick up and collect the recycling material. As a small community, we certainly don't have big monetary resources, so we should be smart about recycling. Running a residential pickup schedule or putting unsupervised containers into mall parking lots could be cost prohibitive for Roswell and has the potential to produce dirty loads if people don't separate the material accordingly. To keep the program simple and easy, there could be a centralized and supervised drop-off point with certain opening days and hours, for example, a city yard or something comparable. That's actually what other cities here in New Mexico do as well. We could start with most common resources that are easy to recycle. That might be aluminum, cardboard, paper, glass, and could potentially expand to plastics, batteries, electronics, and other stuff. To keep it affordable for the city and maybe even split transportation costs, it might be feasible to collaborate with other towns, maybe Artesia, Carlsbad, Ruidoso, or even businesses like the Roswell Mall, our hospitals, for example, and big stores that we have in town. I'm sure there's more ideas out there that contribute to making this a manageable endeavor. I really hope that we can get a program going here in Roswell and show that we are a responsible and thoughtfully run community. By the way, I just want to throw that in really quick. We recycle, which means our garage is full with boxes, and then once a month or every other month when we drive up to Albuquerque or Ruidoso, Alamogordo, we pack our car full and take the recycling with us. So I hope there's something we can do here in Roswell. And other than that, thank you very much, and Happy New Year to you.
Yes, Mr. Nels, thank you. And I would just tell you that we have a number of issues financially right now that we are extremely strapped for money. And the recycling, I believe it is the will of the council, and we haven't had an official vote, but to start to do some kind and work on beginning recycling. And I believe that is the will. Just right now, we have some extreme financial difficulties in doing that. But I think you will see it in the future, and hopefully it won't be too long. But all our enterprise funds were $7.7 million in the hole, and we have to address that. I mean, our salaries that we pay for CDL drivers to drive trash trucks and everything else are extremely low for the surrounding competition, and we have to make a lot of changes on our rates and everything else, and we'll probably have to change some of the style and how we do our pickups. And recycling will certainly, I think, be in that. But we have to get our financial house in order first, and then we will get there. And I don't believe, I think as a whole, I believe this council and our staff is in the mood to follow that and to recycle everything we can. So, Ms. Halverson.
So, just so you know, we have been working on, Abraham's here, he's been trying to find ways, even working with the partnering communities, and some of those things have fallen through. So we have had conversations about recycling. The problem is right now, it costs money to recycle. You don't even break even with it. So that's where we have a problem right now. But Abraham has been working, I think he's still working on programs where we can partner with some of the communities and possibly not lose money on the endeavor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, so next we go down to Council Lady Arnold.
Mr. Chair, I move that the council go into closed session pursuant to NMSA 10-15-1H57, authorizing the city manager to enter into a collective bargaining agreement with the Roswell Police Officers Association, and NMSA 10-15-1H57, authorizing the city manager to enter in an MOU with the Utility Workers Union of America, Local 51, to the October 14th, 2021 collective bargaining agreement.
We have a
Second.
motion. We have a motion by Council Lady Arnold and a second by Council Lady Halverson. Any further discussion? Clerk will call the roll to go into executive session for that stated purpose.
Counselor Arnold, would you not push your motion on this one? We will push the button when we get ready to vote on these items.
Okay, it's confusing.
Sorry for the confusion. We'll get this straight.
I was trying to be good. I was trying.
Thank you. Counselor Cavan,
Yes.
Counselor Marujo,
Yes.
Counselor Halverson,
Yes.
Counselor Arnold,
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa,
Yes.
Counselor Hildenbrand,
Aye.
Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Chapel,
Yes.
Counselor Corn.
Yes.
Motion passes 10-0.
Okay. We'll be back pretty quick, and I'm sure we'll be back as quick as possible, but it shouldn't be too long.
Carlos, did you already turn your paper back in? No. On this, let me have it. One we just, he just gave.
I'm gonna run to the bathroom. I'm sorry, real quick. I'll make it fast.
You're in trouble.
No.
How's your grandson doing? How's your grandson doing? Oh, he broke his arm? Shelby did that for you. And when she did, I went to school, I go, do not get rid of the monkey bar. You know, because anytime a kid gets hurt, it's like a merry-go-round. There's no merry-go-round. Slide you.
You know,
Teeter totter. Because people get hurt, like, it's just,
you know, he might, Will, he might want these. Here you go. I think those are all three. Yeah, just abstain.
you can get through this quick. Stay on
You'll be
task.
fine.
Just
I know, I am. Where are we now? We're through.
24.
Okay. Everybody ready?
Christina went to the restroom.
Oh. Somebody get the timer. Okay. Call ourselves back to order. And Council Lady Arnold, would you like to report that we had him?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
for the record, the council's back in open session at 7:04. We held a closed session pursuant to NMSA 10-15-1 H57. No action was taken and no votes were made. At this time, we will vote for each item individually.
Okay, so moving right along, we have item 33. Okay, item 33. We have an item authorizing the city manager to enter into a collective bargaining agreement with the Roswell Police Officers Association pursuant to, well, never mind, that's it. And we have, if Council Lady Arnold, recognize you for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion authorizing the city manager to enter into a collective bargaining agreement with the Roswell Police Officers Association and hold a closed session pursuant to NMSA 1978, or actually to vote on the items discussed during a closed session pursuant to NMSA 1978 10-15-1 H57.
And we have a motion by Council Lady Arnold, a second by Councilman Hildebrand.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Corn.
unless I was asleep, we haven't voted ourselves back into session.
You aren't, you're correct, we did not.
So you gotta do that first,
Yes, you do.
and then we can go on to business.
Okay, all right. Let's actually go ahead and vote on the closed session.
Okay, I would, if you would make a motion to call ourselves back into regular session at the council meeting as from a closed session.
Actually, are you asking me to make a
Yes,
motion to
ma'am,
bring
if
it?
you just,
Okay. Okay, so I'm sorry, that's what I actually did when it actually was after closed session. I think I did not actually say bringing us back into session, but I'll repeat it. This is what I've been given. For the record, the council is back in open session at 7:06. We held a closed session pursuant to NMSA 10-15-1 H57. No action was taken and no votes were made. At this time, we will come back into open session and vote for each item individually.
Second?
You want me to try it for you, Mr. Mayor?
Okay, Councilman Corn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're needing a motion, second, and a vote to bring ourselves back into back into session after discussion in closed session, and no decisions were made or any votes taken during that meeting.
So, Councilman Corn, thank you for that motion. Do we have a second by Council Lady Arnold?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on bringing ourselves back into open session? Would you like a voice vote, Madam Clerk? Roll call, okay. Okay, the clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Cavan,
Yes.
Counselor Marujo,
Yes.
Counselor Halverson,
Yes.
Counselor Arnold,
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa,
Yes.
Counselor Hildenbrand,
Aye.
Counselor Johnson.
Yes.
Counselor Moore. Yes. Counselor Chapel.
Yes.
Counselor Corn.
Yes.
Motion passes 10-0.
Okay, so now we're back into session. Okay, so Counselor Arnold, if you would make your motion now, for item 33.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion authorizing the city manager to enter into a collective bargaining agreement with the Roswell Police Officers Association and hold a close, and I'm not sure this is the wording on this, and vote on items discussed in a closed session pursuant to NMSA 1978 10-15-1 H57.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Council Lady Arnold and a second by Council Lady Alverson. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, if the clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Cavan,
Abstain.
Counselor Halverson,
Yes.
Counselor Arnold,
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa,
Yes.
Counselor Hildenbrand,
Aye.
Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
Counselor Moore. Yes. Counselor Chapel,
Yes.
Counselor Corn.
Yes.
And then Counselor Marujo, I left you off.
Yes.
Thank you.
Five vote nine in the affirmative, with one abstention, the motion is duly passed the chambers. Okay, next, Council Lady Arnold for item 34.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion authorizing the city manager to enter into an MOU with the Utility Workers Union of America, Local 51, to the October 14th, 2021 collective bargaining agreement.
Second.
We have a motion by Council Lady Arnold and a second by Councilor Hildebrand. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Cavan,
Yes.
Counselor Marujo,
Yes.
Counselor Halverson,
Yes.
Counselor Arnold,
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa,
Yes.
Counselor Hildenbrand,
Aye.
Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
Counselor Moore. Counselor Chapel,
Yes.
Counselor Corn.
Yes.
Motion passes 10-0.
Okay. Now, there's a lot of stuff. Okay, next, so now, that would take us to item 24, Okay. Counselor Hildebrand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we approve to authorize for a public hearing to consider adopting proposed ordinance 23-13, an ordinance for the sale of real property.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Motion by Councilman Hildebrand, second by Counselor Arnold. Okay, yes, sir, Ty, would you like to?
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Welcome. So this is ordinance 2313 for consideration for a public hearing. Let's see here. Okay, there it is. So hold a public hearing on proposed ordinance 2313 for the sale of real property. This property is located just south of the Wool Bowl and east of North Grand Avenue and just north of East College. So it sits kind of right there on the corner by College and the railroad tracks, kind of right across from Burrito Express.
You check to see if it's turned on?
There we go. Thank you. Aha. So here's a couple of photos of the site. It's currently vacant. So the Overland Group has offered the city $135,036 for the 1.55 acres. City management has reviewed the site, and the city has no plans on developing that site. The city attorney has also reviewed the purchase and sale contract from the Overland Group. Excuse me. And then the item has been submitted for legal to review. The legal committee was the first in consideration of the action requested. The legal committee did recommend 4-0 to send it here to City Council. And then in September, on September 14th, it was tabled because we had not had a meeting yet with the Blackdom Memorial Gardens Group, or we'll say new Blackdom Memorial Gardens Group, because a little bit of history on this. This property was deemed on resolution, correct?
I'll give some back.
Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead.
So a couple decades ago, the land through resolution was dedicated in conjunction with anticipated funding from the state. The funding from the state materialized but was never used. So the land has been fallow for decades as a result. Todd has been great at getting a group together. They've been presented with a number of various city properties that are available to them. The group hasn't really decided in what direction they'd like to move forward.
Correct, and to sum all that up, the city stands at the ready to support Blackdom with whatever project they bring forward. They were instructed at the December meeting to reorganize and get together, discuss what sort of project they want to do, how they are going to fund it, and then they can come back to the city and say, this is what we've decided to do. These are some land options that the city has that's available. I shared with them our City of Roswell property map, so they have every location that is currently available at this time. So they can use that in conjunction with what they want to figure out, what they can afford to do. And then we, like I said, we stand at the ready to help them out with that. So the property appraisal was completed back in September of 2023. The appraisal had determined a fair market value for the land of about $2 a square foot, so $87,120 an acre. So ordinance 2313 is to hold a public hearing to adopt proposed ordinance 2313, ordinance for the sale of real property. And of course, NM section 354.1, any sale or lease of municipal facilities at real property entered into pursuant of subsection B of the section shall be by ordinance of the municipality. Such an ordinance shall be effective 45 days after its adoption unless a referendum election is held pursuant to the selection. So I stand for any questions.
We have, excuse me, do we have any questions of Todd on this? Yes, Council Lady Halverson.
So I don't know if I'm looking at the wrong thing here, but this, item number one on, there's no page number. It says $107,000. Is that the same property we're talking about?
Yes, ma'am, I'll go ahead and address that. That is a typing error on that.
That's why it's circled.
Yeah, so it is $135,036. That is what is on all the rest of the paperwork and the addendums that are attached. Yes, ma'am.
Could you repeat that again, Todd?
So the sale price for the property is $135,036, not the $107,000 that's on the abstract. That is an error. So we are receiving full fair market value for the 1.55 acres of land.
Any further questions? Okay, seeing none, then no further discussion. Will the, let's see, we have on a motion, Councilman Hillebrand, second by Council Lady Arnold, to approve the sale of the real property, ordinance 23-13, or to advertise for a public hearing to consider adopting the ordinance 23-13. Is that right? So, if the clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Cavan,
Yes.
Counselor Marujo,
Yes.
Counselor Halverson,
Yes.
Counselor Arnold,
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa,
Yes.
Counselor Hildenbrand,
Aye.
Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
Counselor Moore, Counselor Chapel,
Yes.
Counselor Corn.
Yes.
Motion passes 10-0.
Thank you.
So next thank you, Todd. Next we go to ordinance 24-01 to approval to authorize to advertise for public hearing on before ordinance 2401, an ordinance to authorize the execution and delivery of a water project loan grant agreement between NMFA and the city. Councilman Corn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we adopt ordinance 2401 to authorize advertisement for a public hearing, authorizing extension and delivery of water project loan fund agreement
Second.
between NMFA.
Okay, we've got a motion by Councilman Corn, seconded by Councilor Cavan, right, Cavan?
And I yield to our
Okay.
city engineer.
Okay. Louis?
Mayor, council, new members, welcome. What you have before you is to advertise for the ordinance. You're not voting on the ordinance. This has been a long time coming for this. This is the Hobson Road. I'll give you a quick executive summary. I will, hopefully tomorrow, I'll send out to, especially the new ones, the executive summary on the 2000 South Roswell report, which was done in conjunction with Chaves County Flood Commission and City of Roswell. One of the components of the South Roswell report was the Hobson Road improvements. So I'll send all that to you, and then I'll have those diagrams at our next meeting when you actually vote on the ordinance. So what we have before you, engineering put in for a water trust board application. Water trust board application is what we put in to get clean water loans, which is sewer, drinking water loans, which is the water and the reservoirs, the towers, and then flood prevention, which you have before you now. We put in the $9.6 million application. DFA has looked at it, Water Trust Board has looked at it, and they're offering us an 87% grant of $8+ million, a loan of $1.2 million, That loan would be a principal about, and interest $64,000 a year for 20 years. You can see the rates, which are really low. But what you have before you now is just to advertise for a public hearing next month. And I invite all the new counselors. Engineering department is on the second floor of City Hall Annex. So instead of going to pay your water bill, take the door to the right, come up the stairs. And most of the counselors have been in my office. I have an open door and I have a mess on my desk because we got a lot of stuff going. But I'm glad you can call me as well. I'm glad to discuss any engineering item, any questions you have. I believe, and there's no such thing as a dumb question. If you're thinking about it, you need it to get clarified, that's my job to do. So the pictures that I have with you right for tonight, the first picture in the upper left is the Hobson Earl Cummins West, right there by the National Guard, which was part of the 21 flood, which would be part of when the breach happened. The breach was not a common thing, so it wouldn't be that bad. But what you have before you in the second picture to the lower right is at the end of Byrne and the railroad tracks at Hobson. And part of the Hobson recommendations, and you can see in the background there's a lot of water standing. Actually, that's supposed to be turned into a storm drain pond. Well, we have, about every 2 years, we lose the tracks. And we have to go in there, repair them, and replace the ballast, depending on what happens with the rails. But those would be some of the things that we'd be addressing. We'd be addressing the roadway ditches between Main and West and to the west by the National Guard. But I stand for any questions. I'll send out the executive report, the diagrams from the 2000 report, and I welcome any questions anytime. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Just along that, this subject matter, the levee that was breached is the wonderful flood commissioner has, and his staff have increased that levee by 4 or 5 feet, and extended the width of it, so to help alleviate any future breaks in that levee. That levee had stayed there, I think, since '95, hadn't been breached since '95 when they put it in. So it's significantly higher than what it was.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
would you personally thank the flood commissioner for that?
Not until I get in front of a mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So, any further questions? Okay, so we have, let's see, no, I'm on the wrong one again. We have a motion by Councilman Corn, seconded by Councilor Cavan, to approval, ordinance number 24-01, approval to authorize advertising for a public hearing on proposed ordinance 24-01, an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of a water project fund loan grant by and between the NMFA. If the clerk would call the roll.
Counselor Cavan,
Yes.
Counselor Marujo,
Yes.
Counselor Halverson,
Yes.
Counselor Arnold,
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa,
Yes.
Counselor Hildenbrand,
Aye.
Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
Counselor Moore, Counselor Chapel,
Yes.
Counselor Corn.
Yes.
Motion passes 10 to 0.
Thank you, council.
Thank you, Louis. By a vote of 10 affirmative, none in the negative, item 25 is, ordinance number 24-01 is duly passed. Next, we have item 26. So we have Council Lady Arnold, the election of the mayor pro tem. and to consider holding an election for that.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we hold an election for Mayor Pro Tem.
We have a motion and a second by Council Lady Moore. Any further discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll. Well, you know, it says a roll call, or what she,
So we need to make nominations, and then
Oh,
we'll
we-
vote.
but we don't have to vote to what, to change it? Okay. Oh, well, do we have to have a vote? I mean, a motion to call for the vote?
So you'll open the floor for nominations, and then they need to be, once they've made the nominations, then we will do the vote.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to call for nominations for pro tem. So do we, the chair would receive nominations for pro tem of the Roswell City Council. And for the bodies, the only people who can vote on this are councilors. So do we have any motions? Christina Arnold, Councilor Arnold, excuse me, Council Lady Arnold.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. At this time, I'm actually honored to make this nomination. I would like to nominate Councilman Ed Hildenbrand for Mayor Pro Tem.
Second.
Have a motion to nominate Councilman Hildebrand, seconded by Council Lady Halverson. Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to close nominations.
So moved.
I have a motion by Councilman Cavan to close nominations. Is there any objection? Seeing none, nominations are closed. So we now have one nominee to be the pro tem of the Roswell City Council will be Mr. Councilor Hildebrand. And so I guess that would be, we have a motion by Council Lady Arnold and a second by Councilor Halverson for that. So if a clerk would call the roll to nominate Mr. Ed Hildebrand for Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Roswell for the next coming session.
Counselor Cavan,
Yes.
Counselor Marujo,
Yes.
Counselor Halverson,
Yes.
Counselor Arnold,
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa,
Yes.
Counselor Hildenbrand. Aye. Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
Counselor Moore. Yes. Counselor Chapel,
Yes.
Counselor Corn.
It should come up that you voted. Yes, I'm helping him with his box.
Motion passes.
Nobody
10.
else up here has a problem with that except he and I.
And by a vote of 10 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Congratulations, Counselor Hildebrand.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, moving right along. Item 27. This is the approval of Mayor Jennings' recommendations for Safe Streets All Steering Committee as follows. Juliana Halverson, City of Roswell. James McCormick, City of Roswell Engineering. Meredith Heldreth, City of Roswell Planning. Chief Bateman, Roswell Police Department. Scott Walker, Pollard Bus Company, representing RISD. Nicholas Shurilla, Loveless Hospital. John Doss, Loveless Hospital. Frank Sanchez, Community Advocate. And John Yergi. And those are all individuals that are here in our community and play an active role in that. So, yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, James McCornack, Assistant City Engineer. With your permission, I would do a real quick overview of our Safe Streets for All program for the benefit of the new counselors. and then answer any questions that council may have.
Okay. Proceed, sir.
Thank you, sir. So the Safe Streets for All is a federal grant program through the Federal Highways Administration. The goal of the program is to reduce and eliminate fatal and serious injury accidents nationwide. So the overall process of the grant program is a multi-step program. The first step is that FHWA would fund us to generate a safety action plan to identify required traffic safety improvements, and then hopefully they would again provide funding for us to implement those safety improvements. So the City of Roswell was fortunate to receive a grant through the program to start that process. So we've begun the process of doing our research, traffic safety data analysis, and writing our action safety plan to improve traffic safety for all the road users in our community. And one of the requirements that FHWA has placed on us for that plan writing process is to have a steering committee in place to oversee the creation of that plan. So the individuals noted that the mayor talked about have graciously agreed to participate on the committee for us, including Councilman Halverson, who again graciously agreed to participate on the committee with us. And with that, I'll stand for any questions that council may have.
Questions from the members of the council? Okay, Council Lady Halverson?
I just want to say, we've had one meeting already, and it was very productive, and I look forward to serving. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Mr. McCornack?
Yes, sir.
You're not the
McCornack.
one that was on Johnny Carson, were you? Cornack was, oh, excuse me. Oh, it was Carnack. Well, pretty close. They were cousins.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we have if we can have a motion to approve this. Council Lady Arnold.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve your recommendation to the State Safe Street for All Steering Committee.
We have a motion by Council Lady Arnold, second by Councilor Opresa. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Cavan,
Yes.
Counselor Marujo,
Yes.
Counselor Halverson,
Yes.
Counselor Arnold,
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa,
Yes.
Counselor Hildenbrand,
Aye.
Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
Counselor Moore, Counselor Chapel,
Yes.
Counselor Corn.
Yes.
Motion passes. Motion passes 10-0.
Okay,
Thank you, council.
thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, item 28, award of professional services for wayfinding professional services to Bohannon Houston Incorporated in amount of $99,000. Council Lady Arnold.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to award professional services for the wayfinding professional services to Bohannon Houston, Inc. in the amount of $99,530.12, which includes GRT.
Okay, we have a motion in favor of approving. A motion by Councilor Arnold, second by Councilor Halverson for improving the wayfinding professional services to Bohannon Houston Incorporated for just short of $100,000. Okay, Lewis, Mr. Nahar.
Mayor, councilors, what you have before you is to award the professional services to Bohannon and Houston, BHI. As you can see in your packet, we only had two give us quotes, and the grant that Main Street Roswell procured that's going through us is to watch over the money, to do over the design, is only $100,000. So we had one vendor that understood the process and the amount of money that was out there, and that was Bohannon Houston. Just for the benefit of the new counselors, in 2016, I believe that's in your packet too, there was a wayfinding plan that was adopted. Part of that was wayfinding for the downtown Main Street Roswell. Now, Main Street Roswell has been pushing this, and they want to put in those, a couple of kiosks and some overhead signs. As you can see on the picture there, the overhead sign would have, if we continue to go with that, graphics, but that'll be part of the selection. Have the graphics, Main Street Roswell, we would put one around the convention center, since we own part of the property. And then another one before you get to the Hondo River, which is along 285 Main Street, is the downtown Main Street area. Now, James McCornack and I did meet with the New Mexico DOT yesterday, and then the general office personnel, because there was rumor that we wouldn't be allowed to put an overhead sign. That was clarified yesterday. We can put an overhead sign. We cannot put any sponsors. So you can't put the UFO festival sponsored by whoever. You can't put Piñata Fest sponsored by whoever. You can put your event banners. You cannot put any sponsors. They were very adamant, and the reason I bring this up, because they were very adamant that's not to happen, and they brought up that in the past, there was an offender called the Fairgrounds that got in trouble with the DOT. So we can put up our downtown Main Street signs. We'll put a couple of kiosks. And this, what you have before you, is for the engineering only. It will be up to Main Street Roswell to go find construction funds. But the engineering professional service money is available. The agreement has been signed. Tomorrow, we'll have Chad sign the agreement for BHI so we can start the kickoff meetings and get this one going. And I stand for any questions.
Councilor Halverson.
Did they give you a reason why they won't allow sponsorships?
Okay, it's right away. When you put your sign for your chicken burrito place, do you put it on the right of way or do you put it on private property?
Yeah, the private property, but I just, yeah.
Same thing goes with the signs. And they were very adamant that we could put the downtown Main Street Roswell, that kind of stuff, but we can't put any sponsorship, anything.
So then the events that are listed on there, are they only nonprofit events allowed?
Nonprofit city thing, but again, we would have to clarify. Again, that's going to be part of the kickoff meetings, and I just bring that up because I know what happens in Roswell. People start complaining. They start calling the mayor and you guys. I'm just letting you know up front what the restrictions are for us to
So say
put
the
this up.
Liberty's going to have a concert. They can't use that banner space.
Excuse me?
Say the Liberty has a concert. They are not allowed to use that banner space.
Negative.
Okay. I just want to clarify. Thank you.
Any further comments? Councilor Arnold.
Yes, actually, I'm very excited about this project. Main Street Roswell, we had a sit down, and one of the benefits, I kind of saw the benefit of this in two directions. I thought it would be appealing once we are chosen for the Reno air races, and if we're not, then it's actually still twofold. In my opinion, the Main Street Roswell is the epicenter of our community, and I think it speaks volumes when we actually invest in that epicenter. So I found this to be very attractive, and there are not a lot of them in New Mexico. So in my opinion, this is a win-win for putting a good focus on a beautiful area.
Thank you, Councilor Arnold. Any further questions? Seeing none. Thank you, Mr. Nahar. So we will now go to, item 28, and this will be, if the clerk would call the roll.
We can
Yeah.
have a voice vote for
Voice
this one,
vote,
but
yeah.
please use your boxes as well.
Okay. Don't have a box. Lord. Can't vote. Okay. By a vote of 10 in the affirmative, none in the negative.
You don't see the result yet.
We still have to have a voice vote.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. By a vote of 10 in the affirmative, none in the negative, they've duly passed. I mean, I can tell if there's 10 people voting in there. When you ask how many opposed, if there's somebody who says no, then you know how many. Be 9-1. So it's 10-0. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Nayar. Next we have item 29. All right. And Councilor Corn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we change IBT 24, I think it's a change, isn't it, Lewis? 003. To fund the
Yes.
shortfall of the Parks Capital Fund project. This is specifically the Spring River Trail 2, and we're going to use some cannabis funds for the $80,467.04.
That is correct. That is what's before you.
We have a motion by Councilman Corn to approve item ITB 24-003, a rebid to approve the Parks Capital Project Fund to enhance the Spring River Trail project. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
By Councilor Johnson, sorry, mental labs. Are there any further comments or questions on approving item 29? Okay. Okay, so we have a motion to approve it. If everybody would please vote on your get up and go box. Okay, if the clerk could call the roll, we only have 9. We need, okay, now we got 10. Okay, if the clerk will call, or all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Oh, it's still 10-0. By a vote 10, the affirmative and negative, item 29 is duly passed. Okay, next we go to item 30. Item 30. This is item 30 is to approve the item ITB 23-018 to approve the funding for carryover projects for ITB 23-018 405 North Richardson Avenue remodel, also known as the engineering lab, in the amount of $397.60 from the road fund. Okay, if we need a motion, Councilman Corn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move we approve the funding for a carryover project has to do with remodeling the engineering lab, and for $151,397.66, and I'll have some questions about this when it's appropriate.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion by Councilman Corn, seconded by Councillady Arnold.
If you're looking at your agenda
Okay.
item number 30, that is incorrect. It's not going to come from the road fund. Just to give the new counselors just a history on this, the engineering lab is being moved to the old municipal court. So in 2021, with the rains, the ceiling collapsed. We went in there to look at that building. That was suggested. The lights worked, except they were on the ground. So we went in there and had to dig the mold, everything else. And we got it going and started the project in the fiscal year 23. It's a carryover project. I will say that Finance Committee has recommended that the funding not come out of the road fund, just like Finance Committee recommended on the Spring River Trail that the trail money not come out of the road fund, but for cannabis. On this instance, the Finance Committee recommended that this would come from general fund interest income in the amount stated in there. And I stand for any questions.
Okay, are there any questions of Mr. Nahar on item 30? Councilman Corn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Nahar, thought occurred to me since we had our meeting on Monday. So when are you going to be able to move into that building?
We had some of the internet stuff put in yesterday. We're having a semifinal inspection from the electrical inspector on Wednesday. Once that's done, we'll move all our equipment and everything back over from where we have it on College over there. Then we'll have one more inspection. Well, we're getting pretty dang close, Counselor.
So would it be fair to expect you to open the doors in 2 weeks, maybe?
No, nothing will happen that quick.
Okay. All right, so this 151, have you already expended that money?
We started this project in 2023, as you can see on the screen. This was bid ITB-23-018. The project was funded, PO was issued. At the end of the fiscal years, we're requested which projects do we carry over. All my projects were requested to be carry over. Don't know what happened, but here I am again asking for money.
Well, you didn't answer my question.
Well, we've expended money. We've been issuing payments since I believe when we started in August of last year.
So this is to cover what you've already...
This will cover everything we spent to date, yes, sir.
So
From
that's-
day zero, and I've already projected the final cost with the last change order due to the electrical inspector, but this would cover everything, Counselor, from day zero to the last day.
So would it be fair to say that you've already expended this money and this is...
I think I have, I believe, $36,000 left that we haven't expended of the $151,000. Because we've been paying, we paid for the remediation, we paid for the flooring, we paid for the some of the plumbing, some of the electrical, the ceiling, new HVAC system. And so as the stuff's been getting in our monthly estimates, what's left is to finish the electrical, move all that in, get the communications hooked up, get a final inspection for certificate of occupancy, but we have to move all our shelves and equipment over so we can wire all those in because they want to see that wired in.
So you said that you haven't spent 36,000 of this 151, is that, did I understand you correctly?
That's what comes to my mind.
Well, that's all right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that means you've already spent money in excess of any authorization you have for $115,000.
Well, the authorization, when we bid this project was awarded by council, and I did have a PO.
But I think for this size, it's my understanding, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I could be wrong. I'm getting old and forgetful.
Okay.
Whenever you have a project that's gonna run 60,000 or more above, it's gotta come back through the process. Do I understand that correctly?
That's correct. We brought it to council. This project has been through council. A PO was issued fiscal year '24.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just changed my idea on my vote.
Okay. Any further comments? Okay, seeing none, if the members would vote on your voting machines, please. Okay, one more. Okay. Okay. If everyone has voted, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Oh. Okay, by a vote of 8 in the affirmative and 2 in the negative, the bill is, item 31 is passed. Or item 30, excuse me, 30 is passed. The council,
Thank you, council.
well, just as a point of observation, up until those no votes, I don't think I've been on this council seat and ever seen it before, that we've had 10, 11, 12, we had 13 votes without a negative vote. We did have one abstention in there in 13 votes of this council. And that's pretty good. We're doing real good. I just think, I think it shows we're getting along real good and everything's going real well, and we still have issues that we have to work on, and people still have a right to vote. But 13 times in a row, everybody voted in favor of this. I don't think I can ever remember that happening any time while I've been in here before. I mean, we've had 13 votes in a row. That's good. We're all getting along. Everything's moving along real fast. So it's going really well. Next, we have item 31, approval to ratify the PO request to purchase 2 new battle side loaders from bond equipment in the amount of $830,767.34. 800.
They changed it.
Oh, 800. 806.
867.34.
867. $767.34, I guess, okay. Okay, so we have that, Councilman Corn.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that we go ahead and move this forward. Request to purchase 2 new side loaders for trash collection. And I'm going to try to get this right. $830,867.34.
Second.
Okay, so it's 830. Okay. 860, okay. Okay, oh, it's changed on the other page, okay.
Mayor, you changed the 7 to an 8.
Pardon?
Right after the comma, you changed the 7 to an 8. You got the right number.
Yeah, no, I got it, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Mayor, Council, good
Abraham.
evening. New councilors, welcome.
Oh, wait, excuse me. We have a motion by Councilman Corn. We have to approve item 31 on the purchase of 2 battle side loaders. We have a second?
Kevin.
Oh, by Cavan. A second by Councilman Cavan. Okay, thank you, Abraham. Proceed.
Mayor, Council, thank you for having me today. The Solid Waste Department was budgeted the purchase of 2 silos for fiscal year '24. Originally, the PO was for 2 auto car silos that were to be delivered in FY '24. Our vendor, Curb Tender, which was putting the vehicles together, we had 2 in line in our product line. They ended up selling one of our side loaders to a larger municipality to fulfill a large order. I think it was 10 or 11 side loaders. So Curb Tender returned the phone call to us about 2.5 months ago. It said, hey, we'll get you one in April. The other one will get us sometime in 2025. So that was not acceptable to us. We wanted to get something too within the fiscal year. We did not want to jump fiscal years. In my opinion, talking to council, legal counsel, they did reach our PO. So we found a new vendor, located 2 trucks as promised to council. We actually ended up with a $30,000 savings with our new council with Heil. Heil informed us the battle trucks, they will arrive in April 2024. All the specifications for the truck were overseen by the automated collection supervisor which he actually brought the staff out, brought the drivers out, because we actually have a battle truck here now. We brought the drivers out, put them in the truck, make sure they fit just fine. We had no issues. A lot of the drivers that are using the battle truck that we have now have nothing but good accolades for it. The fleet maintenance supervisor was also there available, reviewed the truck. We already had a truck already for about a year. It's working really well for us. The purchase is going to be through bond equipment utilizing the Sourcewell contract. We'll be purchasing the two trucks at the price of $830,000, $867.34. It is a savings of $29,964.71. Mayor, Council, this is the truck. This is exactly what it's going to look like, except for that behind the cab, you see like a maroon arm. That's going to be yellow. But this is what we request to purchase. At this time, Mayor, Council, I stand for any questions.
Are there any questions? Council Lady Howerson.
So this is more probably for Corn, but the original PO, was there a certain amount for the original PO? And that amount was budgeted, correct? So then, since it changed now, is this an addition to that amount budget, or is this amended?
No, this is a
30,000
savings.
cheaper.
It's a savings. So the original.
But the original PO for the two that we couldn't get delivered, you got one, right?
No,
Also,
we
the
didn't get
orig-
any.
Oh, we didn't get it. Oh, it's just changing the scope of the PO.
Yes. We're
Okay.
just, council had already approved the amount. The vendor, I just went to a different vendor
Okay,
with the same, because I wanted to make sure we get it within this fiscal year, since we do need those trucks.
yeah. All right,
Pretty
thank
bad.
you.
Thank you, Counselor.
Any
Mr.
further
Mayor, if I-
comment?
If I might,
Yes.
this is a double win. We're getting the trucks in the fiscal year that we budgeted the money for, and we're saving 29, almost 30,000 bucks. So it's a double win.
Thank you, Counselor. The staff and the team work really diligent to get this going. We appreciate the support.
Any further questions of Abraham? Okay. Seeing none. On a motion by Councilman Corn, seconded by Councilman Cavan to approve item 31, the approval for appeal request to purchase two new battle side loaders from bond equipment in the amount of, whatever it is, $830,867.34. If everybody's voted, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, by a vote of 10 in the affirmative, none in the negative, item 31 is duly passed, and we've purchased two new side loaders.
Thank you, Mayor, Council.
And next, we have item 32. This is the approval of guidance for fiscal year 25 funding for UFO alien festivals. For approval of Memorial 24-01. Who are we gonna have on that? Let's see, Councilman Corn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move we approve Memorial 2401 to give guidance to not only staff, but the community, that we want vendors in the community, nonprofit hopefully, to put on the UFO festival for us. The memorial, I think, is pretty clean. Doesn't put any specific amount for anything on it. It just spells out that we're looking for, the last sentence says, to the end, city council, to that end, the city council supporting a UFO festival ran by community groups.
Second.
Okay. Thank you. We have, on a motion by Councilman Corn to approve the memorial, and a second by Councilman Cavan, to approve this funding for the UFO Festival. We have questions by Council Lady Arnold.
Do we need to vote first?
No, you can ask your questions. and then we'll
Okay,
vote.
I didn't know if we needed to vote for the motion. Oh, okay, so, thank you, Mr. Chair. I actually wanted to make a comment on this UFO festival and say that this was actually, the government working with the community to come up with solutions. And it was, a lot of city admin that were very effective at helping find those solutions. I always want to put it out there with a change this big that to our staff, TJ and Amanda and the crew that worked on building these events every year, they did a fabulous job. But the community has asked for a change because the UFO Alien Festival is part of the city, and I firmly believe that with it in the hands of the community, I think it will actually bring a great energy and entrepreneurial spirit to this. So I'm very excited, and I really appreciate our city attorney, Hassantama, for coming up with the ideas on how to get this accomplished. So thank you, everyone, for all your hard work.
Thank you, Councilor Harrell. I know you put a lot of time in it, too. Any further questions?